All right, so I had someone ask me this the other day, and so I wanted to see if I could make a simple video. What is a dominant chord? So simply put, dominant chord is a C or a major triad with a minor seventh. This is a minor seventh, or it's like a whole step away, right? It's almost a C. That's a dominant chord, right? Major triad, minor seventh on top. How is this useful? Like, how does this actually work in music? When do you see this chord? My friend was saying, I see this chord all the time. Like, why do I keep seeing this chord, and how is it used? So, first off, it's used as a 5 chord. So lots of relationships in music, like how chords work, they work in 5th relationships. So this is used as a 5 chord. So it's going to resolve down a 5th. So C, if C is 5, we're going to go down, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? C would be the 5 of F. So you'd hear this something like in Mozart or something, right? 1 to 5. I'm playing it kind of ordered like that. Right? Tension, release. Tension, release. So the 5 chord resolves to the 1 chord, right? So it resolves down by 5th. Okay? And the interesting thing about this is if you do the dominant chord, these 2 notes here resolve by half step outward or inward. So that's just what we call voice leading, is like how the voices work together. Okay, so that's like a traditional way of using like Beethoven, Mozart, Bach, how they would use a dominant chord. Now in jazz, it kind of is used for its own sound. So in the 12-bar blues, you hear maybe that kind of thing, right? Guitars or something. That's actually like it's used as a 1 chord. Like that's home bass, right? It's not resolving it's not going to have to resolve necessarily to an F chord, right? Maybe you could just hear just that. It doesn't have to resolve anywhere. So that's a slight difference, maybe how it might be used in jazz, or even classical composers like Debussy or Ravel would just use it as a color chord. It's something that it's just for its own sake. It just sounds nice. It doesn't have the same function anymore. Now, so he was also asking me, my friend was saying, I also see like a C9 on a lead sheet, or a C 13 sharp 11 or something. Like, what is all that business? Okay, so if you take this, which is 5/7, we call it the Arabic number 7 because it has the 7th interval, right? We could say 5, 3, like Roman numeral 5, and then the 5, the 5th, because there's a 5th and a 3rd. But usually that's a given. Like, we're gonna have at least 3 notes because it's a chord. So 7. We can keep going up, actually. We can keep stacking thirds. So 7, 9, 11, 13. Now, the 11 really clashes with this E natural. So often, they will raise that. And then if you keep going another 3, you just end up a C again. So here's all your note choices. So jazzers, or even Debussy or Ravel or something, wouldn't usually play it like this. They usually space it out. That's a better spacing, or something like that, right? So this spacing is nice because you end up with a bunch of 4ths with a 3rd on top. Okay, so that's just kind of, I guess, vanilla, just stacking 3rds. Now, there's a bunch of variations of this. So if we just took the 9, for example, we can flat the 9, right? You hear that a lot. So flat 9. Or you can sharp the 9. And you end up, this is a very bluesy voicing, or a bluesy like 7th chord, right? So because if you play that chord and then you play the blues scale on the top of it, you notice that E flat there in the blues scale is going to clash with that E natural. So I said earlier that you don't want this clash. It's kind of it's also in the blues scale, right? But something about this that people just don't use this that much. Not to say never, but they use this a lot though. So very bluesy. So that's the sharp 9. Okay, so we got flat 9. Now you'll see that actually the flat 9, Chopin, Beethoven, you'll see that in actually a lot of composers. Schubert really likes it. In classical music, the flat 9, not the sharp 9 so much, but blues, jazzers really like that. Okay, so we can keep going up. All right, the sharp 11. Sharp 11, so you could do that in combination with these others. So maybe the flat 9. Right, usually not like that. So the thing about this is now we can start thinking of what people would call upper structures. So this is an F sharp chord now. You've kind of seen how I got that, the sharp 11 and the flat 9. But sometimes it's kind of hard to think sharp 11, flat 9, blah, 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 blah. I just think, oh, I'm just going to do an F sharp chord over C. Right? It kind of ends up with this crunchy sound. Okay, what about also that E flat over C? Right? We got the sharp 9, the 13. Sorry, the 5th. That's just the 5th, right? And the 7th. 13 would have been A, right? So you can do that, E flat, and you could also space it out differently. What else can we do? Oh, this one. You could also, instead of thinking of it stack, 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 it's just D major. D major over C. That's usually kind of how I think of it, these shapes. Think of this shape, how do they relate to each other? Because it's a little clumsy thinking, like I said, 9, sharp 11, flat 13, blah, blah, blah. Just come up with these shapes. Let's see here. Yeah, you can invert it, like I said. Oh, there's a nice one. You end up with this clash there, right? That kind of stuff. So you can kind of mix and match stuff. So there you have it. There's lots, probably more than I needed to say about dominant chords, but they're very useful, and you listen and look out in music. They are everywhere. So happy practicing, guys.